Hey Tech Math, here are the guided notes for 10.1. This is the beginning of our statistics unit. So I'm going to do a little bit of a preview for the next 2 lessons as well in this one, but I won't be testing you on these in the form of a clue or a quiz until you've learned the other 2 lessons as well. So let's get started. Measures of central tendency. The first one we're going to be talking about is mean. Another name for this is the average. Ooh, my pen. Wow. Didn't expect that to happen. The average of all numbers in a data set. There we go. Sorry about that, first A. The average of all numbers in a data set. And how do we calculate the mean or the average? We're going to add up all the numbers, and then we're going to divide by the number of data points. So for example, if I have something like 3, 4, 5, I would add up those numbers, and then because there's 3 data points, 3, 4, and 5, I would divide by 3. Now this is what today's lesson is on, but I also wanted to just preview a little bit with median and mode. I'm actually not going to teach you how to calculate in this video. I'll do that in the next 2. So the median is the middlemost number. The middle number in a set of data. So if we have something like 1, 2, 3, they must be lined up numerically like this. It's the middlemost when we cross out to get to the middle. And then the mode is the most common number in a data set. And this can come in handy in a lot of ways, but again, not going to talk about it in this video. You're going to have to check out the other 2 for that one. The other thing I wanted to teach you about today was a frequency table. So a frequency table shows how often data points show up in a table format. So below is an example of the data points and their arrangement on a table. So you can see over here, we've got all of our data points. And then notice I've grouped them into categories. Data points 0 to 3, data points 4 to 7, data points 8 to 12. Now, if we don't have this part of our table, it's really hard to take an average, because if I want to add up all of the numbers, how do I know if these 3 data points are a 0, a 1, a 2, or a 3? Well, I technically don't. So this doesn't come in handy for my average in today's lesson. However, I want to show it to you because we could find out which one of these is most common and therefore likely to be our average. In this case, you're going to see it's probably 12. Our average probably falls somewhere between 8 and 12 because that's where the most data points are. All right, so let's move on to some actual examples. Alex timed 21 people in the sprint race to the nearest second, and those are their times. So if we want to find the mean of this, the first thing we have to do is just add up all of those numbers. Yes, this is going to take a while, but if you have your calculator, it's pretty quick. I would suggest having a calculator for this unit, because if you don't, you will have to add all of these numbers by hand and divide by hand on your quizzes and tests, and we would not want that. A lot of room for human error where the calculator usually doesn't have it. So as you can see, I'm just adding up these numbers. I got 68, 65, I'm right here, plus 56, plus 59, plus 68, plus 61, plus 67. So when I do this, as I'm just going through, I like to make notes. So the first thing I make note of is what is the sum. So in case I mess up with my dividing, I at least have the pieces I need so I don't have to do that again. And then how many data points were there? Well, let's go through and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So there is a number of points of 21. So as I said before, it's just the sum divided by the number of points. And overall, it's going to be 1289 divided by 21. Now, averages rarely come out nicely, especially if we're dividing by an odd number there. So in this case, my average is going to be about 61.4. And I want you to round to 1 decimal each time. When it comes to averages, 1 decimal is fine. But it doesn't help us just to figure out what the average of those numbers is. It would be nice if we knew what that meant as well. So let's go back to the context of the problem. Alex timed 21 people in the sprint race to the nearest second. So it looks like this one to the nearest second, even though we gave it to the 10th of a second, that the average sprint race for this group of people is about 61.4 seconds. All right, let's keep going. Sam scored the following grades in his end of year exams. What was his mean grade or his average? So in this case, I don't just give you the data points, I give them to you in a table. And there's 2 ways you can do this. You can either do it as decimals or you can do it as just regular numbers. I'm going to do it just as regular numbers because it ultimately is going to tell me a percentage anyway. So we add up all those numbers. 51 plus 62 plus 70 plus 39 plus 81 plus 57. So my sum is 360. My number of data points is 6. So 360 divided by 6 is going to equal about 60% average. So between all of his tests, it looks like Sam might be a D student. Not great, but not awful. All right, that is average. Let me know if you have any questions.